This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
It is Friday, July 18th, the 56th anniversary of the day Ted Kennedy murdered a woman. Yes, he drove off the Dyke Bridge, drunk as a skunk on Martha's Vineyard, and Mary Jo Kopechne didn't make it out. He swam to shore, went back to his room, slept it off, and then told someone, yeah, you know that car that's in the water? There's a young woman, a 28-year-old woman in that car dead. He did nothing to try to save her. Didn't go to prison, got put on a neck brace, went to court. They let him walk out of court, and he proceeded to remain in the Senate for the rest of his worthless life. A disgusting, corrupt human being. It will always be a stain on the state of Massachusetts, the country, the Democrat Party. That was their guy, the Lion of the Senate, who killed a woman and never look back. But that was 56 years ago today. I wonder if the Boston Globe will do a retrospective on that moment in Ted Kennedy's life. Unfortunately, Ted's not around today to see the death of his party, the death of the Democrat Party, which is now polling at 19% approval. A number that's fewer than 1 in 5 people who approve of the current state of the Democrat Party. And it's no surprise they're about to elect a communist for mayor in New York. We will get to that, Mom. It is hilarious watching Democrats try to run cover for this little Marxist. It's not working. I mean, he's going to win. I'm coming around, though. He's going to win. He's going to be mayor. He's going to destroy our biggest and most important city. They just keep telling you, oh, no, he's just a real liberal guy with fresh ideas. And every time they say it, another video pops up, another interview surfaces where he makes it quite clear he's a communist. We'll get to that. But first, we have to dive in on the big story of the day, the big story of the month. Now we know why Donald Trump wanted us to move on. We know he knew that the Wall Street Journal was preparing this bombshell, and it hit last night. And the internet, social media went nuts. Cable news, they're celebrating on MSNBC and CNN. And I have a question. Why? Can someone explain to me? I have spent the last 4 hours reading about this, trying to understand if it's true, if this letter Donald Trump wrote to Jeffrey Epstein on his 50th birthday, there's only one way this is indeed a real scandal, and it certainly doesn't reflect on him. But what if it's all made up? Donald Trump, Caroline Leavitt, J.D. Vance, many others, Megyn Kelly, have come out and said, this is all made up. This is fabricated. This is a transparent hit piece by the Wall Street Journal. That's a scandal. If we find out this letter isn't real, it's a huge scandal, and Donald Trump sues and wins and takes the Wall Street Journal for, I don't know, $100 million. He's threatening to depose Rupert Murdoch. That will be wild. He's on a roll. I mean, obviously, he won the suit against ABC, against CBS. His presidential library is going to be just gold-plated. It's going to be the most spectacular building we've ever seen. It's going to look like the Taj Mahal because all the money he's extracting from his enemies is going toward the presidential library. That's going to be something, but that's a long way off. Right now, the question is, did the Wall Street Journal made it up? And I have another question. What if they didn't? So what? I keep looking for the scandal. I keep looking for the bombshell. There's nothing here about Trump going to the island or Trump getting a massage from some teenage girl. There's nothing here about Trump maintaining a relationship with Epstein after he was convicted of sex crimes. There's a number of celebrities who've been named. I watched Alan Dershowitz last night with Rob Schmidt name names. He said George Mitchell went to the island, Bill Richardson, Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey. A number of celebrities were there. We'd love to hear from them. We'd love to see them held accountable. We're still hoping that someone will be held accountable for the crimes that were committed on that island, but it's not going to be Donald Trump. Even his adversaries admit that he wasn't involved in the sex trafficking ring. He wrote a letter on Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday. They asked him to write a letter. That's what you do when someone says he's turning 50. Could you write him a letter? Again, Trump says this isn't true, and there's a good case for that, and that will be wild. If we find out that the Wall Street Journal or somebody, some Trump hater made it up, that's a big deal, a big, big deal. But if they didn't, I still am trying to figure out what is the big friggin' deal. Maybe I'm missing something. First of all, the Wall Street Journal didn't show us the letter. They didn't show Trump the letter. Why not? I mean, you want a comment from him? You tell him you're working on this big bombshell story, and you can't show him the letter in question. You can't show the readers the letter in question in the story. And it's so bizarre. I mean, I think this works in Trump's favor because so much of this does not appear like something Trump would do. Would he write the letter if they asked him, say, yeah, Epstein is turning 50, we're having a big party, we're going to put together some letters. Could you write something bawdy, write something edgy? That's the way it works. Man, if you could see the things my friends wrote when I turned 50, my wife had a party. People wrote cards, they wrote notes, they wrote messages. There was not a G-rated message among them. That's how it works when a man turns 50. At the time, Trump was 57. He was single. Epstein was obviously 50. He was single. 2 billionaires, 2 jet-setting Playboy types. Why wouldn't he write something a little edgy? But in this case, it's not just edgy and weird. It's just flat out bizarre. So here it is. So they write in the story, in the Wall Street Journal story, they write a weird dialogue, like a dialogue between Trump and Epstein. Here's from the Wall Street Journal. It isn't clear how the letter with Trump's signature was prepared. Inside the outline of the naked woman was a typewritten note styled as an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein, written in the third person. I'm thinking, what? Does that sound like something Trump would do? He writes lots of notes. First of all, he writes notes with his hand. He writes them with a pen. Typewritten note. Nobody can remember Trump writing a typewritten note to anybody. Secondly, here's the conversation. Voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything, the note began. Donald. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey. Nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey. Yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey. As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Trump. A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. Let's just give it to him. Give it to the Wall Street Journal. That is real, that happened, that he wrote that. So what? Can someone explain to me where the scandal is? I mean, it's weird again. And we know Epstein's a monster, an evil man, but this was years. He wasn't even convicted on the state charges. This was 15 years before he was convicted on the federal charges. At this point, he was a free man, a partier at Wall Street, a man about town in Palm Beach that Trump had a relationship with. Yes, Trump said at one point, he told New York Magazine he's a terrific guy. That was before all the stories, the scandal broke. Where's the scandal in that letter? Now, sleuths on the internet have lots of questions about this. Somebody did a search, a Grok search. Trump has never used the word enigma. He's never written it. He's never said it. It's just not in his lexicon. We know he has a limited number of words. He doesn't have a big vocabulary. He doesn't want a big vocabulary. He's never used the word. So in this, he used the word. Secondly, There's nothing incriminating here. Again, weird, talking about secrets and things we have in common, but this is mild. Think of if they released the whole book. It's a book they put together with letters of Epstein's friends. You don't think this much, much worse? He doesn't even swear in this. I guess the big deal is that he drew an outline of a naked woman. That's what you do when a guy turns 50. That's how guys talk to other guys when they have a 50th birthday party. I'm not minimizing this because it's Trump. Hell, when this broke, I said, uh-oh, this is going to be bad. He's going to talk about certain girls and things they did with girls on the island and whatever. It didn't happen. This is the best they've got. This is all you got, Rachel Maddow and Joe Scarborough and Stephanopoulos, and you think you got him here? Honestly, if Trump came out and said, "Yeah, I wrote the letter," so what? I would feel the same way. I'd say, "Yeah, so what?" There's literally nothing embarrassing here. Nothing. Again, any guy who knows another guy who turned 40 or 50 or 60, that's what you do. You get a little racy. You get a little edgy. They're not even married. These guys, they're single guys about town. Am I missing something? Smitty, what do you think? Do you think I'm missing something here? Because God knows, I've been online all morning. I've been on watching cable news. There's a lot of hysterics out there. A lot of people think, ooh, here it is, the big, deep, dark secret. What?
No, you and I think alike, Jerry.
Where is the bombshell here? Where is, and again, I understand why Trump wants to move on. He's sick of this story. He wants to talk about the economy and the border and defunding NPR. He's continuing to do many, many wonderful things. He immediately, here's why I think these people who think they got him better be careful what they wish for, because Trump immediately came out and said he's ordered Pam Bondi to release the grand jury testimony, release everything. If this is all they got on him, he's going to say, yeah, well, I'll tell you what else we got. Here it is. Here's the flight logs. Here's the number of times Bill Gates or Bill Clinton was on the island. Here's testimony from victims. Now, he doesn't have the right. She doesn't have the right to release all grand jury testimony. That's the thing. Grand jury testimony is secret, it is sealed. But as she said herself, she has evidence. She has stuff we would like to see. And if this means all bets are off, he's going to lay it all on the table, it's going to get ugly. And not for him. Because you tell me this, if they had more on him, if they had worse evidence on Trump, we would have seen it. Hell, we would have seen it years ago. Don't forget, they stopped at nothing to stop Trump, to bankrupt Trump, to imprison Trump, to ruin Trump. They tried to take him off the ballot. They tried to put him in jail. They kept him in court all summer. They raided his home. These were unscrupulous people. Merrick Garland, Joe Biden. These are scummy, sleazy people whose only objective for the last 5 years was stop Trump. Hell, the last 10 years. We know what kind of snakes were in the FBI, Christopher Wray, James Comey. We know they weren't beyond making things up. See the Russia hoax, the Fine People hoax, any hoax. That's why Trump is calling this a hoax. We asked this question all week. What hoax? We got our answer. He maintains, he insists this is all made up. And Caroline Levitt said it. Hell, J.D. Vance came right out and said, this is such bullshit. Megyn Kelly said it's the worst hit job she's ever seen. If they're right, if it's made up, he comes out on the other side looking better than ever, just like he did when we found out the Russia hoax was all made up, bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton. Just like when we saw the whole video of the Fine People hoax, it was just made up. That's who we're talking about. People who will stop at nothing because they think Trump is an evil man and they want to stop him and save democracy. Those people, this is all they got. This is the best they've got. I keep thinking I must have missed something. I'm telling you, I read this friggin' thing like 6 times going, what am I missing? Where is the thing that's supposed to bring down Trump? That's supposed to, I watched the Pod Save America guys screaming about this. Oh my God, you're just acting. That's not real. You're pretending this thing is shocking. It's the least shocking thing I've ever seen. I don't care if it's real or not. Hell, if it's not real, it's going to be wild. If he sues and wins, Rupert Murdoch, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, Fox News, he sues them and wins, that's going to be the greatest day in Trump's life. We will see what happens going forward, but it's remarkable that today, a number of people, on MSNBC and CBS, New York Times, they're going to pretend. They're actors. They're going to pretend this is a big deal. They know it's not. They know this is a dud. Let me get to some questions. There's a guy posed these questions on Twitter, on X last night, and they are good because I'd love to hear some answers. I'd love to hear, a panel on CNN or MSNBC get to the bottom of this. Here is a guy named James Fishback. 6 questions for the Wall Street Journal. How on earth did you suddenly find a letter from 2003? Good question. That's unbelievable. 22 years ago, he wrote the letter. Apparently, lots of people saw it. You know what? You know why it took this long? Because people who saw it said, so what? There's nothing here. Who gave it to you? When? What were the terms? Why didn't you publish the letter in full? Good question. I'm still searching for an answer. This is a story about one letter that Trump wrote to Epstein on his 50th birthday, and we can't see it. The Wall Street Journal, all their reporters, all their editors, they can't say, let's include the letter. It would be kind of a key component of the story, don't you think? And they refused to show it to Trump and Caroline Leavitt. We need an answer to that. President Trump has always been known for writing personal letters by hand. Can you cite a single example of him sending a typewritten note? And nobody can, at least not yet. He's also known for a straightforward and direct writing style. Can you cite one other example of him writing a letter in whimsical riddles, like the letter you allegedly found? And he writes, don't you find it odd that this letter magically appears now, not in 2016, 2020, 2024, but right when the Democrats are trying to weaponize Epstein against Trump? Those are questions for the Wall Street Journal. They won't answer them. And it is remarkable because if this thing existed and people who hate Trump had access to it, they would have fed it to the New York Times 10 years ago to stop Trump, 5 years ago to stop Trump. Hell, last year when we saw them pull out all the stops, when we saw them arrest him and raid him and try to kill him, and they didn't release this letter. You know why? Because there's nothing here, or it's totally made up. We don't know which right now, and I don't even, it almost doesn't seem to matter to me at this point. Even if it's real, it's a 24-hour news cycle. By Sunday morning, by Monday, no one's going to think anything of this. This is Trump we're talking about. I mean, if he hadn't written something a little weird and wacky, I'd be surprised. If he said, no, I can't do that, that would be inappropriate. The guy's turning 50, and you write about his secrets. I mean, maybe his secrets is that he had an affair, or some banged his friend's wife or something. That's the kind of guy Epstein was. What did you expect Trump to do? Just bizarre, and good luck with that. Good luck with that, MSNBC, NBC. Good Democrats. Good luck with that, Jamie Raskin and Liz Warren and the rest of you. You got nothing. Adam Schiff. Good luck with that. This is, I think, one of the great days. It's been 6 months, almost. Sunday will be a 6 months anniversary, I believe. And this may have, stolen the headlines, taken taken all the attention, but it was a great day for a number of reasons. It finally happened. The Senate, the House passed the rescission package, $9 billion, minuscule cut, but meaningful, symbolic. No more federal funding, no more taxpayer funding for NPR or PBS. And again, I'm old. Smitty's even older. We've been hearing this for 40 years. Anytime the Republicans had the House, the Senate, the White House, we're going to fund NPR, that left-wing propaganda outlet. We're going to stop subsidizing these people who hate this country. It's finally happened. We must take this moment to salute Trump, to salute Mike Johnson, John Thune, you name it. The Republicans, the 50 Republicans in the Senate who voted for this, 51, God bless them. They finally did it. These parasites have to make it on their own. I can't tell you how just gratifying it is to watch Trump defeat the media. This is, again, something I've wanted to see for my whole life. We know these people aren't really, reporters or comedians or entertainers. That we know they're just hard left Democrats who wake up in the morning and say, how can I attack Trump today? What can I do to stop Trump? I just made a quick list. Maybe I'm leaving someone out. Here's what's happened in just this term, 6 months. Defunding PBS, defunding PBR. You know who's been fired or quit or put out to pasture? Joy Reid, Lester Holt, Chuck Todd, Andrea Mitchell, Jim Acosta, and now Stephen Colbert, perhaps the most vile Trump hater of them all. Colbert is done. This is great. And Trump is taking a victory lap. We will get to that. We got so much more to get to on this. It's just a great day. We get that. We get the latest, as I mentioned, on Mandami, the Marxist, the commie Mandami he just keeps telling us who he is. And Democrats tell us, no, he didn't mean, no, he's just a good Democrat. No, don't believe him. Well, we believe him. And we'll get to that. And we get the latest poly market odds. He's winning that race. And it is just going to blow up spectacularly on Democrats. We'll get to that and much more. But first.
Excuse me.
Nothing wakes you up like losing a loved one. I know I've been there a little too often recently. You think, what about me? You do a lot of soul searching and you wonder, will my family be prepared financially if something were to happen to me? The last thing you want is your family to worry about how they're going to pay the bills. With life insurance from Ethos, your family is protected. I know it's not a pleasant thought, but you know what's worse? Wondering, will my family be able to stay in the house? Will my kids be able to go to college? Will my wife be able to pay the bills? Life insurance from Ethos gives you peace of mind. I know it did for me. It's one big bucket list thing you get to cross off. I know traditional life insurance can be complicated, but Ethos isn't. Ethos makes it easy. So protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/Newsmax. That's ethos.com/Newsmax.
This was perhaps the highlight of my week, month, year. This is just great. Stephen Colbert announced that he is done hosting the Late Show on CBS. The guy is just terrible. He lost his mind when Trump came along. He used to be mildly amusing on the Daily Show. He used to do the imitation of Bill O'Reilly. He became a host, and he's just a vile, repulsive creature. I mean, just. He cannot do a monologue. He cannot do a skit without causing cringing like you've never seen before. Everything he does is so cringy and uncomfortable. I tweeted this out. I said, I sometimes watch and I feel bad for him. He's such a sellout. This is an alleged comedian who's a total stooge for Big Pharma, big government, the establishment, the deep state. That's what he does every day. Defends the deep state, defends pharmaceuticals. He's such a disgrace when you consider what that job is supposed to be. You're supposed to be, a iconoclast, a contrarian. You're supposed to poke fun at the powers that be. That's what comedians used to do. That's what they still do. That's what Greg Gutfeld does. Not Colbert, not Kimmel, not Myers. These guys, they're like the Praetorian Guard. They're to protect, the establishment and attack Trump every night over and over again. And they get their little seals clapping in the audience and fake laughing when they put the laugh sign up. But Colbert announced, do we have his announcement? This is amazing. The big night where he announces his show is done, that he's been fired. They're keeping him on till next May, which is weird. He's a lame duck. He's got almost a year to go. And every night you're going to say, oh, that's why they fired him. Now I remember his big guest, his lead guest on this big night where he announces he has been fired, Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff, just to lend credibility to this liar, to this snake, is such a that's so typical of Stephen Colbert to platform a scumbag like Adam Schiff. But that's what he did last night, and here he is announcing the end of his horrible show.
Before we start the show, I want to let you know something that I found out just last night. Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May. And... yeah, I share your feelings. It's not just the end of our show, but it's the end of The Late Show on CBS. I'm not being replaced. This is all just going away. And I do want to say that the folks at CBS have been great partners. I'm so grateful to the Tiffany Network for giving me this chair and this beautiful theater to call home.
Oh, so sad. Yeah, let's hear from Shifty Schiff. I don't know what he's going to do without his pal Colbert. He's got some issues, and we're hoping, Trump has 3.5 more years. I think he's going to get around to indicting Adam Schiff, at least I hope. But here he is last night with Colbert.
Ever since I led his first impeachment, he's threatened me with jail and prosecution and called me a traitor, accused me of treason, blah, blah, blah. He coerced Republicans into censuring me in the House, and now the latest attack on me. So I just want to direct this, if this is the right camera, or maybe that's the right camera.
That's the right camera right there.
Donald, piss off.
I'm telling you, you can't watch 5 minutes Colbert without cringing. You have this pencil-neck lion piece of garbage on there. Piss off, Donald.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not. We have to see him in an orange jumpsuit before this term is up. But I do want to remember Colbert for this, and I'll never forget it. We talked about it at the time. Obviously, during COVID, he was a big vaccine guy, shut down, lockdown. He was all on board with whatever Fauci said, whatever the government told us. He pushed back on nothing. He was one of those guys, just like Kimmel, who wanted you to shun the unvaccinated. Hell, Kimmel said they shouldn't give medical care to, like, if an unvaccinated person went to the hospital for a heart attack, they should let him die. Kimmel's very broken up by this, by the way. He's tweeting about how heartbreaking it is and how outrageous it is. And they say, he has good ratings. He gets crushed by Greg Gutfeld, a cable host, Greg Gutfeld, who's a real comedian, a real funny guy, a real iconoclast. He kills Colbert, Kimmel, Myers, all of them in the ratings. They said this is about money, and I believe it. I mean, obviously it's about ratings, and ratings translate to revenue. We talked about this a couple of years ago. Colbert has like 75 writers on his staff. He's got this huge staff, and the best they could come up with is these lame jokes where he dances and just makes fun of the orange man every night. But he hit the lowest of the low during COVID. I remember playing this, watching this in disbelief, that somebody in that writer's room said, here's what we want to do. We want to push the vaccine. We want to promote the vaccine, a comedy show. And their idea was dancing syringes. I don't know if you remember this, but if you can't look at it, you can't watch it without like spraining something from cringing. It is so uncomfortable. It's so humiliating that he decided to do this. They put it to music. It's Colbert dancing with a bunch of backup singers who are like dressed as syringes, pushing this useless vax on the country. Let's take one more look at the single lowest moment in late night TV.
The vaccine.
The opening crowd dancing. Just not possible. Not possible to look at that. Dun, 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 dun. Vaccine. Oh, God. It was the second quarter ratings for late night TV. Greg Gutfeld got averaged 3.289 million. Colbert 2.4 million. With a network and 75 writers, he gets crushed by Greg Gutfeld, has like 5 guys writing on his staff. This was tough news for Schiff and for Liz Warren. Liz Warren tweeted out, CBS canceled Colbert's show just 3 days after Colbert called out CBS's parent company, Paramount, for its $16 million settlement with Trump, a deal that looks like bribery. America deserves to know if his show was canceled for political reasons. So the fake Indians worried about cancel culture now. Yeah, let's investigate. Oh, and then we have that video of him dancing in Central Park with Chuck Schumer. Has anyone humiliated himself over the last few years like Stephen Colbert? I don't think so. Let me get Trump's statement. He put out a statement, of course. Here he is. Donald Trump on Truth Social this morning, or early this morning. He says, I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings. I hear Jimmy Kimmel is next, has even less talent than Colbert. Greg Gutfeld is better than all of them combined, including the moron on NBC who ruined the once great Tonight Show. That is Trump on Stephen Colbert. On Johnny Carson's last night, when he bid farewell, when he retired, he got 55 million viewers. This guy Colbert averages about 2 million. And on his last show next May, maybe he'll get, 4, maybe 5. People want to watch the train wreck, the 10-car pileup one last time. And then he'll go away. And you know what he'll do? He'll be like Keith Olbermann. He'll do a podcast. He'll do interviews. He'll be ranting and raving from his, beach house in Malibu or something. Trump broke him. Trump ruined him. And it's wonderful to see. All right, let's get to Kami Mandami. This is just so fun to watch. It is. Democrats are in a tough spot. The leading candidate for mayor in New York City is a flat out communist. And they keep telling you, no, he's not a communist. He's not. He's a capitalist. He wants a safety net for people. He wants to do something about income inequality. But here's the problem. This guy will jump in front of any camera. He'll go on any podcast. He will tell you what he really is. He met in D.C. with Democrat lawmakers. He met with the Congress people in the squad, loves him. They're pushing hard for him. And then you hear in his own words what he believes in. And you know what he believes in? Communism. I don't know if they teach this in school anymore, but when someone says they want to, quote, seize the means of production, that's communism. When someone says they want to abolish private property, that's a communist. That's what he is. And Democrats just keep saying, don't believe your lying ears. He's just a normal Democrat. And they are stuck. They have no choice. They have to support him. And at this point, it looks like he's going to be the next mayor. The poly market odds this morning, he has a 71% chance of winning, of defeating Andrew Cuomo. The polls are close, but but Cuomo's just such a bad candidate, such a bad guy. And it looks like doesn't look like Eric Adams or Curtis Lee or Cuomo's going to pull out and rally behind one candidate. And if they don't, Kami Mandami is your next mayor. Here he is talking about abolishing private property.
My platform is that every single person should have housing. And I think faced with these two options, the system has hundreds of thousands of people unhoused, right? For what? If there was any system that could guarantee each person housing, whether you call it the abolition of private property or you call it, just a statewide housing guarantee, it is preferable to what is going on right now. And I think that people try and play like gotcha games about these kinds of things. And it's like, look, I care more about whether somebody has a home.
The abolition of private property. Mayor of New York City, the the epicenter, the beating heartbeat of capitalism, of the free market, of our economic system. And the mayor is going to be someone who says, call it what you want, call it abolition of private property. That's bad. This is worse. This is a guy who wants to eliminate prisons. The only time New York works, the only time it's safe, it's prosperous, it's appealing, it's attractive place for tourism is when the cops are allowed to do their jobs, when they are allowed to lock up criminals, when they take illegal alien gang members off the street. Then people feel safe to visit the city of New York. This is a guy who thinks they have a over incarceration problem, which is not the case. It's never the case, particularly in Democrat cities. They have an under-incarceration problem, as you can see when you see, TDA gang members on scooters robbing people. Those people belong in prisons or deported. But here he is saying, what good does prison do? Go ahead.
Are prisons obsolete?
Whew, coming through with the quotes, coming through with the titles of the books. I have to read that, actually. I haven't read that as yet. But I think that, frankly, what purpose do they serve? Right? I think we have to ask ourselves that, which is that, I think a lot of people who defend the carceral state, they defend the idea of it and the way it makes them feel.
What good do prisons do? There's your Bowdoin education for you. His father's a professor, his mother's a filmmaker, he's a little rich punk who's never worked a day in his life and wants to know, what good do prisons do? Oh, I don't know. They punish the criminals. They protect the law-abiding. That sounds pretty good to me. That's kind of why prisons have existed since the beginning of time. He doesn't want people to go to prison. He doesn't want cops to respond to domestic violence calls. Social workers are going to go there when you get some guy with a gun beating the hell out of his wife. Social workers are going to go in, talk some sense into him. It is scary, but Democrats have no choice. They will gaslight. Can you get the congressman? This is Congressman Mark Takano, after meeting Zamdami, after hearing that he wants to seize the means of production, abolish private property, abolish prisons, tax people based on their race, every other crazy idea he has. Spend $65 million for sex change jerseys for children, make the buses free, make the grocery stores owned by the city. Here's an actual congressman standing in front of the cameras and lying to you about Mamdani.
The overall impression on me was, this guy is not a communist. He's not a socialist. He's an advocate for small c capitalism, and that he really is fighting for the little business guy that's trying to eke out a living in New York. Half of all New Yorkers, get their jobs from small business.
Mamdani has literally said he's not a capitalist. He's literally said he doesn't believe in capitalism. And you have this congressman stand in front of the camera and say, he's a capitalist. They have no choice. Lie to you. Small business people, like bodega owners, shop owners, how are they going to fare when the city owns grocery stores in their neighborhood? Liz Warren, the fake Indian, went on CNBC, the Squawk Box this morning, and defended him, and actually defended the idea of city-owned grocery stores. This is my senior senator who thinks the city owning stores is a good idea. Listen to this.
We're going to get some food grocery stores in areas that right now are food deserts. And by the way, it's a new and fresh plan for New York City, but it's been tried in other cities around the country and has had some real successes. So what I hear Mamdani saying is, I want to try things to make it work for working families. And you know what? This is how democracy works. A lot of people in New York City said, that sounds good to me. I'd rather try that than any of the other alternatives available to me.
She's defending city-owned grocery stores because of food deserts. I don't know. I've been in New York City a lot. Does it look like a food desert? There's a bodega on every corner. There's restaurants everywhere. There's hot dog vendors and, sausage vendors everywhere. a food desert. They're all in on this guy, and I can't wait because it is going to backfire big time. What purpose do prisons? Donald Trump has never said anything that insane in his entire 79 years. There's Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert have never said anything that nuts, and that's going to be the mayor of New York City. All right, let's get to the big story of the day. Obviously, Trump and Epstein and Mamdani, and they're not as big as this one. If you missed it, this could be the most viral thing I think I've ever seen. This is hilarious. A CEO named Andy Byron, CEO of a Boston company, $1 billion company, astronomer, was caught on the Kiss Cam at the Coldplay concert at Gillette. I can't believe Coldplay plays Gillette. They're that big. I mean, I don't think I've ever met a big Coldplay fan, but apparently, 50,000 of them converged on Gillette Stadium for this show, including Andy, the CEO, a married man, and talk about embarrassing. Here it is. Here it is. The story. It is a moment of shock and mortification in Massachusetts that has transfixed the internet. A camera at the Coldplay concert near Boston sweeps the audience and picks out a canoodling couple. But as they see their image beamed on the screen, the man and woman do not kiss and wave. Instead, their eyes widen in horror as they break apart. She turns and buries her face in her hands. He ducks to the ground. Oh, what? Chris Martin said, the lead singer of Coldplay. Either they're having an affair or they're very shy. Well, we got our answer pretty quick. They're having an affair. Andy Byron, the married chief executive of an astronomer and a software development company, and the woman was identified as Kristen Cabot, the head of HR. Now, most people took great pleasure in seeing an HR woman getting embarrassed like this, and it was just incredible. They were. He had his arms around her. She was in front of him. They appeared to be a loving couple, and I guess they are. Little inter-office romance, but it just blew up on them. Everyone's waiting for his wife to deliver the divorce papers. The guy is worth like hundreds of millions of dollars, and he blew it all up. Holy bleep, said Chris Martin. I hope we didn't do something bad. Well, you didn't. You exposed these cheating liars. But there's a theory going around now. This thing took off like I think I've never seen anything else. There were memes, videos. People were digging in on their personal lives, on the company. It was a viral moment like I think I've never seen before. But here's one theory, that it was all a setup by the HR lady, which a lot of people believe because, that's the way HR women tend to be, a little ruthless. But here's one explanation for what went down. Go ahead.
Did you notice Alyssa Stoddard, the subordinate sitting next to Kristen Cabot, smirking? It turns out she and Megan Byron masterminded this whole drama together. On July 16th, the Kiss Cam at the Coldplay concert accidentally focused on a middle-aged couple sharing a hug. But what no one expected was that this couple wasn't just married. They worked at the same company, and the whole scene was a power dynamic between boss and subordinate. What made it even more shocking was Alyssa, sitting next to Kristen, the mistress, flashing a chilling smile. In that moment, the truth of the situation seemed to come into focus. The twist? Just days earlier, Andy Byron, CEO of Astronomer, had promoted his mistress, Kristen, to head of HR. While he was busy abusing his power, Alyssa had secretly teamed up with Andy's wife, Megan. They used this concert Kiss Cam moment to publicly humiliate him. Even more striking, Alyssa looked so smug, as if she'd planned this all along. Since then, Megan has deleted all related posts and even dropped the Byron surname. Rumor has it Andy is about to be served with divorce papers, along with a hefty settlement and child support demands. Justice may be delayed, but it's definitely on its way.
Oh, so the other person there in the shot set it all up with the wife, according to this guy who made a pretty good case. And he's about to be served divorce papers and lose millions. I told you, I always say this, like people who cheat on their spouse, is it really worth it? I mean, you think this guy thinks it was worth it when it's all said and done? He will forever be known to everybody in the business world, in his neighborhood, in his social circles. It's just that cheating weasel who got caught on the Kiss Cam by Coldplay. And as many people said, what's more embarrassing, that his wife caught him with another woman, or that he was caught at a Coldplay concert? Yeah. I mean, it's a tough call. Both pretty humiliating, but good luck to Andy Byron going forward. I'm guessing his entire world has been rocked. All right, how much time we got, Smitty? What are we at?
As much time as you want, Jerry. We're about 45 minutes in.
It's your last day. We think Ironhead will be returning from his cruise. Went on a cruise in July. I'm not sure if he survived.
Should I be tearful saying it was a wonderful experience?
Yeah, wonderful. It's a highlight of your life, I'm sure. But we got to get to this. I want to mention this because we talked about it a lot. An illegal alien in the Boston area, living in Marlborough, raped his daughter. Yes, that's the kind of thing that were happening at the Healy hotels. Our friend John Featherston, who used to be a supervisor at the hotel, broke this news. They tried to cover it up. Maura Healey, the governor, and other elected Democrats tried to cover it up because that's what they do. They protect illegal aliens, particularly illegal alien violent criminals. At the time, this happened a long time ago. Let me get the date. It happened a long time ago. And what did they do when they found out this man, his name is Ronald Joseph, was raping his daughter? He impregnated his 14-year-old daughter. You know what they did? They put him in a taxpayer-funded Uber, and they shipped him to another Healy hotel. Well, Featherston wouldn't let it go. A few others, Jess Machado, reporter in Fall River, others stayed on the story. And finally, and at last, this poor kid, this 14-year-old, got justice. Her father is pleading guilty and going away for 12 to 15 years. It's tough blow, tough break for all the elected Democrats in Massachusetts, beginning with the governor, because they don't like when you find out what's actually going on at these migrant hotels, for which we're paying $1 billion. Taxpayers are funding this. Here's the story from the Metro West Daily News. I love this. A man, not an illegal alien, not an undocumented immigrant, a man who lived at a local migrant shelter in Marlborough has been sentenced to 12 to 15 years in state prison after pleading guilty to raping and impregnating his 14-year-old daughter. The man, who the Daily News is not naming so as not also to identify the victim, so they're protecting the perpetrator, whose name is Ronald Joseph, pleaded guilty Friday, July 11th in Middlesex Superior Court to aggravated rape of a child. The judge sentenced him to 12 to 15 years. According to the Middlesex DA, the man and his daughter lived at a migrant shelter in Marlborough, a Holiday Inn, between September 2023 and May 2024. The school that she attended notified authorities because the girl was pregnant, 14 years old. And initially, they did their best to cover it up. They failed. He's going to prison, thankfully. But this is what was going on at these migrant shelters. And when you think about it, it is beyond infuriating. It's beyond sickening. I mean, we pay for everything for this guy. And on top of that, they protected him. They tried to help him. Here's from Jess Machado, the reporter who covered this along with Featherston and wouldn't let it die. She writes, Ronald Joseph, the illegal migrant who raped and impregnated his daughter, pleaded guilty. Here's what we did for Ronald Joseph. We paid for his flight to Massachusetts after he illegally crossed the border. We paid for his shelter, housed him in a hotel. We paid for his meals 3 times a day. We gave him food stamps and cash benefits. We paid for his transportation. We paid for his laundry. They had laundry service at the hotel. We paid for his cell phone. We paid for his health insurance. We paid for his Uber after he raped his daughter so he could go to another hotel and live on the dole. We paid for the second shelter he lived in. We paid for the police, the detectives, the DAs who arrested, investigated him, and tried him. We paid for his attorney that defended him. We paid for an interpreter in court. And now we'll pay for him to be housed in a state prison for the next 12 to 15 years. How does that not infuriate everybody? How do you defend that? How, if you're Maura Healey, do you run for re-election? Look the voters in the eye and saying you are protecting them, that you didn't facilitate this madness in this state. It's just sickening. I know I say it every day, but how does anyone go to the polls and vote for the people who did this to your community, who welcomed these people in, who gave them sanctuary, who paid for every damn thing, laundry service, culturally sensitive meals, Ubers wherever they want to go, free healthcare? Why? What's the case for paying for everything for these people, for inviting them here? That's why they're here. You think this guy would have come here if we didn't pay for everything, if we didn't allow him to live for free? Of course not. So why? Why do you want him here? I will never understand that. I'll never understand Democrats. Fine, two more quick things if we got time. I love this story because I hate the Steve Miller Band. I know you're a big fan, Smitty, but you only like him because he's older than you.
Oh, I met him once. He was a very nice guy. He told me that Les Paul used to come to his house and taught him how to play the guitar.
Really?
Yeah.
And do you consider him like really good guitar player?
Well, yeah, he's got a good band, and he seemed like a nice guy when I met him.
Okay, let me ask you this. What do you think of the song Abracadabra?
I hate that song.
Because we've done this many times on the radio to try to rank the worst songs of all time. That's number one. That's the worst song ever made. And people apparently were going to pay. We're going to pay to go see Stephen Miller. That's amazing to me. But no more. The Steve Miller Band is canceling their American tour. You know why? Was Steve Miller sick? Was he old? Yes, he's old, but is he sick? They have voice issues? No. Did they have lack of interest from the fans? No. They're canceling their concert because of climate change. They're literally canceling their whole tour because I'll get the statement here. It's just hilarious. It's from 81-year-old Steve Miller. The combination of extreme heat, unpredictable flooding, tornadoes, hurricanes, and massive forest fires make these risks for you, our audience, the band, and the crew impossible. So blame it on the weather. The tour is canceled.
So he doesn't believe in the geoengineered storms, I guess.
Climate change
Yeah.
is why they're canceling his world tour. You know what? The people should be thankful. Anyone who bought a ticket, the tour was beginning in New York, I believe, shortly, and it's off. So you get to save your money. You don't have to go watch this 81-year-old lunatic who's afraid of extreme weather.
Abracadabra, Steve Miller disappears.
Abracadabra. All right, before we go, I got to play this because I love Scott Jennings, and I can't get enough of his 1-on-5 battles. But Sunday, as we mentioned, is 6 months. 6 months. No, was it 6? Yeah, 6 months since Trump took office, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And last week was the anniversary, last Sunday, the anniversary of the assassination attempt where Trump was shot in the ear, went down for 1 minute and 1 second, got back up, bloodied, but unbowed, pumping his fist. Great moment, iconic moment. Well, on CNN, they call that supposedly shot in the ear. Supposedly. So there's the kind of people they put on CNN. Toure. I don't even know what Toure does, what makes him earn a spot on this panel, but he's sitting right next to Scott Jennings when he says it, and Jennings is in disbelief. This is the kind of people Scott Jennings has to deal with on a nightly basis. Listen to this.
supposedly got shot in the
And by his
ear.
doctor.
We never heard from his doctors on that.
Did you say supposedly?
When did we hear from his doctors?
Guys,
When did we hear from his doctors?
hold on. If y'all stop screaming at the table, maybe I can actually respond.
Supposedly.
Hold on.
Supposedly.
Okay.
That's where we are now.
Hold on a second. Teray, he was shot in the ear.
Thank you for bringing that up.
All right.
But when we hear from the doctors, we would always hear from his doctors.
Did we hear from his doctors? Did we hear from his doctors?
Is this true?
I mean, Scott, did we hear from his doctors?
I mean, all I know is I went to the Republican National Convention and he had a bandage on his ear.
All right. I don't.
He had blood on his face. Where did it come from?
Hold on a second.
Why are we?
I don't know. I like the chaos.
Gentlemen.
Abby Phillips is upset that we didn't hear from his doctors.
Yeah.
We were supposed to hear from his doctors because he got a cut on the ear and blood on his face. They gave the medical report yesterday about his vein issue in the leg, and it was incredibly transparent and detailed. And they said it's no big deal, and by all accounts, it's not. But I think they did that to show the contrast between the last administration and this administration. They told you all about his vein problem and his swelling in his hands and his legs, all about it. They said it's, not a huge medical issue, but they told you what he's dealing with, and that's certainly a change from the last administration where all they did was lie. All right, that will do it for today, this Friday, July 18th, 56th anniversary of the day Ted Kennedy murdered Mary Jo Kopechne. Smitty, thanks for filling in for a week. Did you have a good time?
Nothing but fun, Jerry. It was a lot of fun.
All right, if Ironhead fell off the boat, and there's a real chance that happened, or maybe ate himself to death on this cruise, this Carnival cruise, we'll bring you back. But we will see. We'll find out. I'm sure he'll come back. He'll have no idea what happened in the world. He'll have no idea about any of the news. He just gorged himself for a week. But that's what you do when you go on a Carnival cruise. You fight, you drink, you eat, you sit around and get fatter. That's kind of the whole point, right? I guess we're not going to do that Carnival cruise ad, huh? All right, thanks, Smitty. Appreciate it. That will do it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is the Callahan Show, and we will do it again Monday morning.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.